Greetings, community, and welcome to Entrepreneur Comics and another edition of, well, Kevin's most anticipated reads tomorrow for New Comic Book Day, 5/14/2025. It's great to be here. It's great to be alive. And I appreciate those that cruise on through the rewind, for without you, it wouldn't even be half as fun. And I always want to take a quick moment, as I always do, if you appreciate what you see and if you wouldn't mind possibly hit that like. And at the end, if you stayed with me all this way through, then I just ask that you possibly consider to subscribe. Let's start it off talking about Dynamite, and they're going to give us Space Ghost issue number 12. David Pepos has not only been killing it with this, but in my opinion, it allowed him to further pursue other of the classics. And in doing so, he not only is writing for Dynamite and other titles such as, oh, that's Mad Cave, I'm sorry, such as the other favorite of mine, which is a Speed Racer title that'll be coming soon, and it was also launched on Free Comic Book Day. But yeah, he just seems to be always writing titles in which that I really enjoy reading, and between Space Ghost, Speed Racer, and at the moment, another one is slipping me right now that he's also writing that I am enjoying. Those three titles will be keeping busy until 2027, essentially, in the beginning. And they're all Captain Planet. And they are just favorites of mine that I really enjoy. And it really brings me right back to my childhood. The way he writes it not only gives me chills of bringing back my childhood nostalgia, but it also really exhibits how well an individual can take an old story and an old classic and modernize it to where it's exceedingly enjoyable by anybody's standards today. Pardon me, I am a little bit tired. I've been working a lot lately, so that's why I'm a little bit, on the down low, just a hair. Moving out from that awesome title from Dynamite, which is Space Ghost, coming out on 5/14/2025. Let's cruise over to Marvel. They're going to give us quite a few titles that is coming out tomorrow. Starting off with Doctor Strange of Asgard, issue number 3. The first two issues establishes the whole goal of what Doctor Strange is trying to do by reestablishing his title as Sorcerer Supreme. He has to seek new avenues, which leads him into Asgard to try to obtain some magic so that he can then utilize that to challenge Doom in the future, meaning when he's, further strengthened with and endowed with enough magic to do so. It's been really an interesting story thus far, and the tactic in which that he's pursuing seems quite different than anything I've ever read, in the sense of I've never heard of magic really being heralded in Asgard, and it's really touching on how the Blood Hunt stuff really kind of messed everything up as far as in the Marvel Universe, and how we're still doing patchwork so many months later. And this Doctor Strange stuff, along with Doom, which we're going to get into soon, yeah, it's just been awesome. I can't wait to get into Doctor Strange of Asgard issue number 3, coming out for you and me on 5/14/2025. Let's move on from that, talk about Godzilla versus X-Men. Godzilla is going to be pretty heavy this year. We're going to see a lot of Godzilla titles coming out, and the Versus was just kind of an introduction, along with Godzilla versus America. When to get all these city titles. Those are just kind of the two titles that are introduced. Not only do we have an ongoing series, but 2 more other titles that will be coming out later on in the summer. So if you're a fan of Godzilla, then you're going to be thoroughly enjoying and spending a lot of money and time reading a whole lot of Godzilla, and I just can't wait to get my hands on this Godzilla versus X-Men issue number 1. Moving on from that, we're going to talk about Gwenpool issue number 1. I've been talking about this quite some time, and it only missed out. Well, I missed out about that a little bit. It was definitely in my top 5 most anticipated reads, and it unfortunately made 5. But that stated, I also ended up buying yeah, 5 covers. So there's a cover 1A. There's the Hot and Smoking Bee of 2. And then I end up getting, I think there's a cover E, yeah? Yeah. Which anybody is a hardcore, or even remotely decent Amazing Spider-Man fan kind of knows what this homage is and what this pays tribute to and how this is significant to the whole. There's a lot of appearances in here. We get one major and a couple of other things that will be talked about, I'm sure, down the road. I don't want to be that person that's spoiling it, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading this Gwenpool issue number 1. Moving on from that, let's talk about Wolverine issue number 6, what I just showed you. Now, we're supposedly getting a whole first appearance of Wolverine's, or not Wolverine, but another weaponized, spiritualized version of another classic character, which is the Hell Hulk. Now that has been introduced into the series, and supposedly we're getting a full appearance of him. Kind of. What we'll be receiving is an overall depiction of this individual. So it's really, I think it's almost like a slap in the face by Marvel to say this is or isn't, the full appearance, even though it's being claimed to be. You'll understand if you are reading this title, which it's been really enjoyable so far. What I'm trying to get at without actually spoiling it, it's supposed to be, again, as you'll see, this is the quote unquote first full appearance of the Hell Hulk. Now, if you've been reading this title, you've been probably enjoying it as much as I have, and it does lead into future tie-ins to other titles that will be coming out. Along with the Spirit of Violence and along with other stuff, we're seeing a lot of Hell stuff being introduced to the Marvel, reintroduced heavily into the Marvel Universe in the next few months, as far as how we're seeing all this weaponization of the spiritualization, and we're seeing these new spirits of type things, and we're seeing all this. There's a lot of hell going on, and it's hell yeah, awesome. All right, moving on from that, let's talk about Immortal Thor issue number 23. Thor has been really enjoyable for me. I have to admit, I haven't not read issue number 22. I have a box behind me, and I've yet to log in. I've been trying to play catch up, and I'm really getting close to reading issue 22, but that doesn't mean that I'm not dying to get my hands on issue number 23. I've been enjoying this Thor series so far. It's been rather steady and solid. The reason what I've been holding on for, even though I made some small complaints about some of the dialogue and how it's been coming across of late, is only because of the slowdown and how they've been building up what I now see what's going on, which is this supposedly by issue 23 and 24, we supposedly get some revelation and understanding of what was being kind of told to us way back in the Donny Cates days from issue number like 5, 6, and 7 that we were getting back then, which is what, 2 volumes before this. Supposedly that's what my understanding of this is all kind of leading to. I'm dying to get my hands on Thor 23, but obviously I got to get through 22. But it doesn't mean that I'm not anticipating that read. That makes sense. Let's move out from Immortal Thor issue number 23 and cruise over to Miles Morales issue number 33. Wow, we're going to get a whole lot of first appearances in this. Some places are already wiped out, as at some of the stores. I'm talking, if you're a spec person, might want to kind of keep your eye on this thing. At the same point, for those of you that have been reading this thing much like myself and know so far this thing has been so solid. Cody Ziegler is killing it. He's doing a great job. Not only are we getting Cody writing some awesome stuff, but we're getting Kyle Higgins writing some awesome stuff, and the two of them are coming together to put together some awesome stuff that soon I'll be talked to. Soon be talked to you and them about soon. Back to Miles. Yeah, I can't wait to read issue number 33, not only because I knew what this was leading to and some heavy characters that have been coming out so far, like Annecy, I think that's how you pronounce it, the Spider God, and everything that's been leading up to it. It's been giving Miles a whole lot of introspection as far as reconsidering if his life has been his own or if it's all been fate and manipulated by Annecy, and just it's really been cool because he's second guessing all his reality, and I just really been enjoying this ride so far. At no point have I been disappointed in this whole run, and if you're remotely even a slight fan of a Miles Morales character, in the sense that you've been reading it in the past, but you have not yet jumped onto this volume, highly recommend going to the trades, catch up, and you will not be disappointed, especially if, from what I'm seeing on issue number 3 coming out, it'll allow you then to justify all the boxes of books that you end up buying in advance to possibly spec on what 33 gives out. Moving on from Miles Morales, issue number 3, let's talk about One World Under Doom, issue number 4. This is what I was talking about this whole Doom stuff. Doom ended up getting his powers, if you haven't understood or known what most people are talking about with this whole Doom stuff. In addition to his already science-based driven madness and his desire to take over the world and the universe, multiverse possibly, is he's always desired to possess and obtain the Sorcerer Supreme's power and magic. So now that he has this combination, he seems unstoppable. And that's where we're getting in these storylines with this whole Doom stuff. And One World Under Doom, at this point, it seems to be the pinnacle. I think this is a 9-issue series. And it leads up to everything that's going to, with the tie-ins and stuff and how they play their parts, that is slowly stepping you up and building you up to this ultimate crescendo that we're going to get when we get to the back end of the storyline. One World Under Doom, issue number 4, is not only one of my more anticipated reads, which, remember I was talking about my top 5? It's issue number 4. Coincidence. But One World Under Doom, issue number 4 is something that I know is going to start changing the tide of what's going on. So between Doctor Doom of Asgard, Doctor Strange of Asgard, and One World Under Doom, it's starting to piece together really what we were going to come to expect in the next few months with the Doom storyline. Moving on from that, let's talk about the Spectacular Spider-Man, issue number 15. I end up recently seeing Wiseman, and I end up having him sign considerable amount of books. Thank you, sir, if you're watching. Appreciate you. As he made statement and jest, in no way was I exploiting him for his time and his signatures. I did make sure that I caught him at the last 10 minutes of the signing event to ensure that the books in which that he signed were not only totally permitted by him, but that I wasn't holding anyone up behind me. I not only thank you, but damn, let's get back to the storyline. The Spectacular Spider-Man are not only tying into my more favorite Spider-Man of the whole Spider-Man universe, but it also has been working so well by the writing of this guy that, and the art is just as good. Don't get me wrong. And you really thought I really was going to end up enjoying the series as much as I do, and I hate to see it go, which I think it will soon because I'm not able to see any future, previews down the road, and like 3 or 4 months down the line. I've been enjoying the series so far. I highly recommend it if you're a remote Spider-Man fan whatsoever, because this series is not only been enjoyable, but it ties in some of the better stuff that we like about these characters. And they seemingly do it well together, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to the Spectacular Spider-Man. Remember I was talking about the top 5? Yeah, it made actually 3.5. It was in between. It kind of slipped in there on the last minute. Just saying. So moving on from that, let's talk about Spider-Verse and the last title versus Venomverse of Marvel Universe. Issue number 1. Look at this pretty little foily thing. Isn't that cool? Really dig this character. Weapon 8 is a really awesome and insanely just talented introduction to this whole Spider-Verse. Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, I believe, are the ones who end up doing that. And yeah, Spider-Ham has always been one of my all-time favorites. And yeah, this has actually been something that's been putting together for the past almost year. Building up to it and putting this together. I know there was a lot of like backroom talk about how they're going to do it. It wasn't just slapped together. There was a lot of discussion, a lot of consideration to the fans. Of late, fans have been playing a major role on how some of these series have been actually written and delivered to the Marvel public. Good or bad? It's kind of the way, unfortunately, or fortunately. I don't know. However, I've been looking for that title like you wouldn't believe. It's just like way up there on my most anticipated reads. It just seems like it's going to be more fun than it is anything else. I don't know how it's really going to reverberate through the whole Marvel universe, or if it's going to be anything major down the road. It will offer us a whole lot more new characters, and justifiably so, because of what's going to happen Supposedly only one world can exist, possibly. We'll see about that, and I can't wait to see about that in these coming days. I think I can get into that one, so we'll see. Spider-Verse versus Venomverse is pretty high on my most anticipated reason. Let's move out from the Marvel Universe, which is going to give us a whole lot of titles coming out tomorrow. And let's cruise over to Dark Horse, and they're going to give us Usagi Yojimbo 10,000 Plums, issue number 3. I have to admit, I still yet to get to issue number 2. As I mentioned before, I have a whole huge box behind me that I've still yet to go through, but issue number 1 was freaking awesome. I really like what they're doing with Usagi Yojimbo back over at the home in which he's had so long ago. When he rides on the Dark Horse, it feels like he's just comfortable once again. And now that he's given us all these new titles, which will be coming out the rest of the year with Yukichi. I don't know if I ever pronounced his name correctly, but his cousin. It has been a wonderful addition to this Yojimbo universe, if you want to call it that. And yeah, I can't wait to get my hands onto it along with issue number 2, because I really thoroughly enjoy Usagi, and I've been reading it ever since the late 80s, and I just can't get enough. If you're a fan of definitely something different, but of like a folk hero style feudal Japan storytelling with a whole lot of insight and philosophical flavorings, along with a little sprinkle and touchings of some, I don't know, I guess folklore, then that's kind of what Usagi's going for. I know I'm describing it kind of poorly, but wow, how it's written. It will make you so glad that you took what little I was able to throw here out there to have some interest in you to go make consideration of reading Usagi Yojimbo. Which Usagi Yojimbo 10,000 Plums, issue number 3, will come out tomorrow on 5/14/2025. Let's cruise out from Dark Horse and cruise over to Ahoy Comics, because they're going to bring us Toxic Avenger Pinup Special, issue number 1. Now, my understanding is a one-shot special, and they were going to go ahead and get a whole lot more of Toxie, regardless if you want to see that much of Toxie or not. I really been enjoying the whole Toxic Avenger reintroduction, that we haven't got a good, Toxic Avenger story for quite some time. And being that they went over to Ahoy Comics, they've been somewhat regular on their releasings of Toxic Avenger stories. I can't be happier. I've been taking and purchasing all the, I think they're cover C's. I mean, I could be wrong on this one. It might be a cover B, where they give you the trading card. It's worth the extra buck, and it's been awesome because I've been putting not only the trading card on the back of my regular books, but I've been getting the clear cover backing boards and putting them on there so you can get the version front, and you get the back, and then you get the trading card, and it just works. Facts of the story. I really been enjoying the Toxic Avenger, and I always have since the past. It's just one of those stories that's quite different, unique, and I'm just such a fan of independent comics that I don't know. Toxic's just I don't know. Toxic Avenger is definitely different, and I'm a fan. Pinup special coming out, issue number 1, to you and me on 5/14/2025. Let's cruise out from the Ahoy Comics and let's cruise over to Image, and that's where we're going to go ahead and get our last few titles. And let's start that out with World Tree, issue number 14. As I made mention in the past before, the only complaint I have about this is I know Tanya's been extremely busy with his writing, and I know, unfortunately, on the regular, when it comes to ongoing series, something like World Tree usually has to take suffering. Yeah, and that's the problem. You know what I mean? And we're getting the same thing when it comes to, trying to remember the other title, which is with the fantasy stuff and the kid and the, yeah, I know it's way up there in my W's too, I believe. But anyways, I really enjoy the series. I just unfortunately have to wait 2, maybe 3 months to get another comic, and I can't retain everything that's going along in the story because of how complex the story is. The best way I can describe World Tree is the dark web comes to life and is trying to take over our not only web, but to basically manipulate and kind of infiltrate itself and force itself not only onto unsuspected people that are utilizing the internet, but to reprogram humanity into its own form. It's crazy. It's gnarly. And it's awesome. I just don't get it on the regular. But 14 is coming out, and I'll take that. Seriously. I'm going to keep buying it as regular as I can get it. And I've really been enjoying it as much as I can remember it. And that's World Tree. That's pretty much, that's it. It's really cool. The art is awesome. The story is cool. It's just, you got to wait, unfortunately. Highly recommend the trade, because then you don't have to wait. You can go ahead and get the first 2 volumes, and you'll just be chomping on the bed for the next volume to finish out. And by the time you read those, maybe the next volume will. Just saying. Let's move out from World Tree and cruise over to Transformers issue number 20. Now that we went through the free comic book day stuff, and we got to catch up not only to everything that was leading up to that whole year, we're finally going to lead up to and lead off with how we're going to go ahead and eventually do a crossover, which I'm hoping to see, which, if my understanding is correct, around November. Yeah, I'm hoping. And that will be just awesome. I know that we've been furthering, giving more depth to how ingrained and dependent upon each civilization, well, especially when we talk about Void Rivals to Transformers, and now Transformers to Earth here, which is going to involve G.I. Joe, that this 3-way triangle loving eventually thing is going to end up converging soon. So what I'm getting at, Transformers has not only been an awesome standalone story that has just been ramping up on the damages that have been giving to and from on both sides, and we're getting so many introductions and sometimes eliminations of characters on both the Transformers and the Decepticon side. But it's just been really amazing to see how Kirkman and everyone is putting together the part to go ahead and create this massive Energon universe that I particularly can't get enough of. So Transformers, you just keep doing what you're doing, as far as I think it was Williamson. Right? And yeah, I'm going to keep buying it. Just saying. Let's move out from Transformers, issue number 20, and let's cruise over to Geiger, issue number 14. Jeff Johns is killing this thing. I mean, I can't wait till this actually comes out on, what is it, Netflix or Amazon or one of those things is. Seriously, this is going to be amazing. And now we're getting to issue number 14, and we're starting to understand some of the, well, hopefully we get a better understanding, but we're starting to understand beyond what we thought was going to be the initial directive of the glowing woman and what her sole goals were. But she actually has something kind of hidden away, vault. And hopefully we're going to end up seeing not only if it is who we all think it is, but how that person ended up there, why that person ended up there, if they get out, if it's going to end up being Geiger that does so, what's the relationship going to be between those two, and or now the glowing man, glowing woman, Geiger and her. This is getting gnarly. It's almost like a soap opera going on, and I've really been digging it. That poor Knight has had nothing but a nightmare, and just as deep as we're getting into the story and as many characters as we're getting, we're seeing how this universe, this world, is getting pretty big, especially for a place that got nuked. So the aftermath of this post-apocalyptic world is seemingly getting pretty dramatic. Moving out from Geiger 14, let's cruise over to I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer. Hillard and Wagner have this awesome relationship between their art and their ability to tell their story in a most perverse way, but sometimes also get the reader to be extremely sympathetic to the character, and it makes you question, what the hell am I doing, when you start having sympathy to the actual killer. And that tends to be the whole ball of wax in which that these two end up writing and depicting their storylines. I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer is not only an interesting story in which that it was first introduced as far as issue number 1 is concerned, but my belief is, and it's seemingly so, is this is also tying into one of the characters that we see that ends up helping another character in the book Vinyl. This actually seems like a character that we've seen before, that we're getting a past history and understanding of in this series. I'm looking to see if this actually ties together in any way, which sometimes some of these books seemingly do so loosely. And I think that's more tickling me more than anything else. When I was talking about on the top 5 of my most anticipated reads, I was a Fashion School Serial Killer. Issue number 2 is definitely 3 on my most anticipated reads. Moving out from that, and let's cruise over to the Underground Universe, as I was making mention before. And here we are going to get issue number 1, the one shot that was also introduced on Free Comic Book Day, from my understanding. And if you didn't get it, then it's going to be at the shops. This is one of the variants. I had to get this. And it was cool once I ended up seeing this character in Void Rivals, and as within the sphere and all that was going on in the ring. I'm like, this is actually starting to make sense on how the Transformers tie in not only to Void Rivals, but how they're actually creating these mini bases throughout the universe, galaxy, multiple galaxies actually. So yeah, throughout a portion of the universe, to aid them in their overall goal to go ahead and revive Cybertron. But you knew it couldn't have been just one simple journey over to Earth. That wouldn't have made sense. But the fact that they had to make certain pit stops, or certain scouts didn't get to complete their task and had to end up at certain places and do what they do, this makes sense, and I had to get it. Can't wait to read this thing, which, no, I didn't get to read the Free Comic Book Day one. I'm going to have to make a comparison. Just saying. All right, and moving on from the Amazon universe and cruising over to the Invincible stuff. Oh, no, I'm not really reading the Invincible stuff. I never really did. So for me to go backwards, I would just have to end up getting the trade and do all that. Right now, as you well know, I'm reading stacks of books. And I just can't keep up. I'm hoping possibly one day. I do have the trade. My brother ended up buying me for it. I'm kind of glad he doesn't watch this, because he would be kind of hurt that I am still read it. Dang it. But I have it. I'm not going to give it away. I'm dying to read it. And that's why I haven't really got into it. Back to the Battle Beast. Battle Beast! Issue number 1 is coming out tomorrow. There's multiple stuff out there. However, there is a blind bag. And that blind bag does contain mystery book. Hey, Mark. How you doing? Appreciate you being here, buddy. Now, I was just informed recently that there is also, as people may know, that there is referred to as God packs out there in like Pokemon and other playing card game type stuff. There is a God pack, a Battle Beast blind bag, multi-pack stuff out there that contain more than one book, and actually contain expensive books. So if you know anything about that, or if you're looking for anything that's pretty rare, I would suggest that. As far as these are concerned, you never know what you might get. Could get a cover A, could get cover B. You could get a preview book of issue number 2. You never know what you might get. There is a rumor out there that you could possibly even get a 1 in 2,000. That's why these books have been flying out of the shelves. As far as my shop is concerned, they have an extreme 1 book per customer, how should I say, rule that they're enforcing like I've never seen anybody enforce before at any other shop before. Even like they're going to try to remember who you are if you think you can come in later or the next day. I think they just want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to get one of these blind bags. So if you can find them, go get them. And if you can buy more than one, then, good luck. That'd be cool. I know people are having difficulty. And so if you can get more than one, cool. And good luck on what you end up pulling, because it's definitely a blind bag thing. Now, along with that same gimmick, and slightly different, is this week's Blue Light Special, which is, if you may have guessed, it is Exquisite Corpses. Now, this is also a blind bag. This is how it comes. Exquisite Corpses, I have not heard enough people talk about, from my understanding, is going to be a card game. And exclusive cards will be in this book. I've not opened it. Not really try to feel. I think it must be on the front. I'm now trying to feel for it. Yeah, I'm not really feeling for it. I mean, I can't really feel it. I'm trying to play a little bit. I don't want to waste all your time, but my understanding is, in all of these, there will be a hidden card inside. That card will be in every, believe, C cover. That will be out. This is a maxi series. Once all the cards are out, they will be able to be not only utilized in the game, but there, from my understanding, also will be separate cards that will be sold. That will be the mainstay and main staple of the actual game. The cards in which they will be distributed through the games themselves, I think, are exclusive to the book. Could be wrong, but that was why I ended up getting all the books, along with my curiosity of what this was about. I was hearing a lot of people not only say this is not only a great gimmick, a great publicity stunt, much like Battle Beasts, which are selling. Holy mackerel, both these guys are selling a lot of books between Battle Beasts and Exquisite Corpses. The difference is Exquisite Corpses is going on to a different franchise arena, and what they want to do is put it into a game, which is kind of cool. Exquisite Corpses is, if you don't know it by yet, stupid wording, is a story about families getting together once every 5 years on Halloween to go ahead and, I think they're on like an island, and just fight it out to the death. Winner, not quite certain what the prize is. I have heard rumor, and I'd rather not say. Okay, shoot, I will. I think they get a stake in the other people's, other families' businesses. Just saying. So there is something to not only play for, but yeah, it's a, you know, many walk in and only one walk out type scenario. It looks like they're all wearing some interesting masks and costumes while they do this. This is going to be hoary, gory, and Italian classic, in my opinion. There is a signing event that I'm entered in and should be happening right now. And yeah, this is my blue light special, and I can't wait to get into this thing. So for those of you that tuned in, I greatly appreciate you. Mark. Oh, really? And then there you have it. And I appreciate you being here on the live. For all of you that cruised on through, I appreciate you too. And yeah, that's it for me. Entropy. You guys have a great day and you stay well. Bye.